Hey, everybody, this is Mark.
This is Ashley.
And this is Justin.
And this is Awkward Fist Bump Productions. Boom! So we have got an exciting show for you today. Today, we're going to talk about kind of the inner workings within the jail/prison system. But before we talk about it, let's talk about this. We are now a podcast. So we know, yay! So we know a lot of you guys don't maybe necessarily have time to do 30-minute videos or whatever on YouTube, but you can listen to us on the way to work. Links will be in the bottom. So what you need to do, though, is go to any place that you podcast and you can look up Awkward Fist Bump Productions. Also, join the discussion at Facebook, on Facebook, should I say. Look in the search bar, Awkward Fist Bump Productions. And if you feel like supporting the show, become a Patreon member. Once again, everything that we just talked about is at the bottom. Also, we want you to comment. Comment on our videos. Join the discussion. Yes, join the discussion. We are looking for content material. We are looking for awesome people to be co-hosts. And that brings me up to another point. We've got an exciting couple of co-hosts getting ready to join us. Not tonight, but it's going to be exciting. So make sure you fist bump that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification button. And we love you. So what do we got in store tonight? So we're going to talk about, me and Ashley had a very limited experience. We're not trying to compare ourselves to you, Justin, by any stretch, all right? But me and Ashley did 60 days in jail, whereas y'all already know Justin, so you know his story. So,
10 years.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the inner workings like that people don't see in the jail. So I'm going to start it off with food.
Okay.
All right. So how did y'all eat in jail/prison?
Like a princess.
Oh, you did? You did?
I loved the food. The food was delicious. Absolutely amazing.
You must be talking about the stuff that you bought on the store, not what they fed you.
No.
No. Okay. Like I thought she was being serious there for a minute.
I was being very serious. So, Sheriff.
Oh, she is.
Yeah, anybody from Etowah County who is watching, and in fact, anybody who just keeps up with the regular news knows that Etowah County is most famous for their sheriff embezzling over $750,000 from the food budget from the jail and buying a beach house in South Alabama.
Mm-hmm. I know about that.
Yes. So the sheriff of my jail, Sheriff Horton, as soon as he came into office, he was like, yeah, we are completely revamping everything involving food. And I'm already like a human trash can, so even if it tastes bad, I'm going to eat it. But this stuff was amazing. Like the chicken was fresh and juicy. And then they had like this tuna surprise with noodles and stuff, which I loved. You guys are making gross faces. Maybe you know what?
Maybe our experience is just severely different from your experiences. But keep going. We're not going to stop you. Keep going.
Glorious, delicious, 10 out of 10. Would highly recommend. I mean, don't go to jail, but
like, are you doing a Google review right now of Etowah County Detention Center?
I mean, I could.
10 out of 10 would definitely go back.
I would, if I were a CO there, I would get trays. I wouldn't bring my food from home. Like if I were a day shift CO there, I would get food from the kitchen because it was wonderful. I had no.
Wow.
That's why I gained 20 pounds. I'm probably the only person to come out on the other side of 60 days 20 pounds heavier.
What?
Like I gained 20 pounds.
I think I lost about 30 pounds in 60 days. Well, how? Because there wasn't a lot of food, okay? So we ate, and I don't know about you guys, but breakfast was about 4 o'clock in the morning. Lunch was at about 10 o'clock in the morning. And we ate dinner, I want to say it was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So after 2, you're done. And, you do get commissary, so you can supplement your food income. But for those that don't know, and I think I can say this, I'm off contract, so I don't care. A&E puts a little bit of money on your books, but they don't put a lot of money on your books. And they'll be the first ones to tell you, hey, we're not going to put a lot of money on your books because it would look...
15.
Do what?
So you can get probably like 15 soups with the amount of money.
Yeah. Well, you could, but you had to make a decision. They didn't give us a lot of money because they didn't want to make it look suspicious. So I had to make a decision. I wanted some phone time because I wanted to call home and talk to people. So I would usually get about 7 to 8 soups a week to supplement my income. So I would eat an extra soup a night. Soup, if you don't know, is that wonderful, glorious thing called ramen noodles. You can find them at your grocery store. But now, the one thing that did blow my mind about soups, and I'm not sure what kind of experiences y'all had with them, but in Pinal County, they jacked up the cost of soups. So you can buy like 10 for $1 at the grocery store in the free world, but they were about 90 to 95 cents a pack on our commissary. How about you guys?
Same.
The county jail that I was in, it wasn't that bad, but it was still pretty expensive. I know another county over from us, I think they were like 95 cents, $1 for one pack of ramen. In the prison, they were only like 37 cents a pack.
Okay. So not much markup there, but at the county level, for us, it was about 95 cents a pack. So I had enough money to buy maybe 7 to 8 soups a week and then use maybe a couple of sodas here, there, and yonder. But the food itself, I think the federal government says you're required to have so many calories, maybe 2,000 calories a day. And Pinal County would not go a single calorie over, doggone it. How about you guys?
Most places.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Justin. I don't want to reveal how terrible I am.
Hey, Justin, do me a huge favor. Sit back for me a little bit. There you go. Sorry, guys. We just noticed after the first video that sometimes it cuts off, but I think Justin's super excited. So he's getting in the moment. There we go. All right, go ahead, Justin.
So, yeah, most places, like, they do not like to feed you more than what they have to. And, I mean, that's one thing that I would love to see change in, especially prison, and in county jails. I have seen it more in prison, though. Like, the officers, they do not like to see you get extra trays. They don't like to see you do op, which is going through the line again. And, they have staff members in the back that are sitting there watching over the guys that are filling up the trays and making sure that you don't put too much on there. So, like, there's people in the back monitoring it. There's people up front monitoring it. In the chow hall monitor it. But at the end of every meal, they throw away trash cans, of food, and they just dump it in the trash. And, like, it gets to me because, first off, there's still people in there that have no money, that don't have any commissary, because a lot of them don't have family on the streets, and if they do, their family is struggling to make their ends meet, let alone to send them extra money a week. And they're just throwing away this food. I mean, there's some guys that are big dudes, 200-300 pounds, and they're eating the same thing as a guy that's 100 pounds every day. And then also, like, how many more people could they feed if they didn't want to give us too much extra? Why couldn't they take this and feed it to the homeless or do a food bank, and be able to use this food to prosper? I mean, like, there's plenty of different things that they could be able to do with this extra food, but they just throw it away every day. And I mean, every single meal, there's big, huge trash cans full of food that they just dump every single day.
And we talked about that the other day. I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a minute. You talk about the amount of food that they throw away every day, and that officers don't like to see inmates do-op. Do-opping is go through the try to sneak through, more specifically, the line twice.
Do-op's also a cake you can make, right?
I don't know. You're talking to a couple of guys.
Every state and everywhere you go, the names for stuff is completely different.
You're talking about a cake inside. Is that what you're talking about?
A do-op. You take a honey bun, and then, like, I'm trying to remember how you make a do-op. I know it's like a honey bun, and then you take the frosting off a cupcake, or you'll take your favorite, like a Butterfinger, and you'll crinkle it on top of the honey bun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So we did. I'd never heard of that, but I love doing a spread.
I'm trying.
And what we would do if we did a spread, like the first time I got cut in on a spread, man, it was awesome. So it's you take the tortilla shells and you spread it out to where you've got it's about 6 feet doggone long, and you put in ramen noodles, you put in doggone pre-fried beans, you put in nacho cheese, jalapeno cheese actually, and you put in all sorts of different gel ingredients. And man, I would make that on the outside. It was so good. How about you? What kind of spreads did you guys do there, Justin?
Oh, anything you could think of. We call them pockets, but I mean, we've made our own pizzas out of soups, which is really good. Pizza, taco, or not tacos, but chips with like a whole bunch of cheese and beans and jalapenos all on top of it, and like
Oh yeah.
summer sausages. And one thing I love, like we used to do, is like cooking the summer sausage. You put a summer sausage on a pencil, and then make a bomb out of the toilet paper, and then light it on fire and cook it over that, and then like it would. Oh man, it tasted so good. Or you take a summer sausage, do the same thing, and cook it, and then put it down in the middle of a honey bun and roll it up. Oh man.
Jeez. So every institution has their own way of eating good, if you can eat good.
Culinary, like.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah, they make some really good meals in there.
I do know that Pinal County, and it might have been because of our proximity to the border with Mexico, we had Taco Tuesday, and that was good. But it seemed like the problem with the food, at least in Pinal County, was it was a lot of filler food. So it's almost like eating Chinese food. Like you feel full when you're done, and then like an hour later you were starving again. So it was what it was.
Food.
We keep talking about food, and you guys both know I've got hamburgers right there. Looking at them.
Well, you still got about 17 minutes before you can touch them, my friend.
Being polite. I'm being polite. See, this is how I got fat. This is the problem right here.
So, okay. So I think we killed the food topic. We can actually probably do another episode one day. Hey, I think that'd be a great idea on how to do a spread, how to make a spread. Well, Justin, dude. Okay, so speaking of which, we are doing a new set of videos that Justin's just going to tell a story. It's going to be like 5 to 10 minutes, and he's going to do one once a week. In fact, he just sent it to me, and so it's going to be uploaded tomorrow. So it's awesome. But maybe that's something you can do for Justin's Corner.
Yeah. Right. Cooking with Justin.
I'm going to make a Bombay one day, too, for you.
Dude, you never know. Maybe the Food Network will pick up our YouTube channel.
Is there a prison cooking channel? Like, honestly, have you guys found one where it's like, hi, welcome back to Prison Foods with Justin? Like an actual cooking channel for prison foods.
Ooh.
I have seen a little bit of that on some other channels.
Corner the market, Justin.
There we go.
Yes.
Hey, I think we found a new series.
Yes.
That's awesome.
I did.
Okay. So let's talk about for a minute, because Justin, I know that you had a lot more experience with this, but myself and Ashley, especially both of us working in law enforcement, saw another side that we had probably never hoped to see. I wouldn't say probably, that we had never hoped to see. Let's talk about treatment by staff for a minute. So, I don't know about you guys, and I feel, because obviously, Justin, your stuff was not televised on international TV. And I say international TV because 60 Days In is televised in over 100 countries.
We're airing in Germany right now.
Yeah, I saw where you actually posted that on your social media account, where you were talking where you were speaking and it was being translated into German. So yeah, that's cool. But and the same thing happened to me. I know I was like, man, I sound ugly speaking German. But anyway, and if you're tuning in from Germany, I'm not saying that you have an ugly language. I'm just saying, coming out of my mouth, it came across pretty ugly. But that being said, I think the most notable mistreatment that we can say that everybody here that's watching has probably seen is Miss Williams from season 6, 60 Days In. Talk to me about that.
It was very different for me because I went into this 110% trusting the staff. I was not worried about the staff. I admired them. You know, I've always held corrections officers to a much higher standard because I live by the 3% rule. 3% of the interactions that I'm going to have in law enforcement are going to involve somebody that's going to end up in jail. I only have to deal with those people 3% of the time. Corrections officers deal with them 40 hours a week. No offense, Justin. Like but it's like, you know, it's a very different world, and I have so much respect for corrections officers. I did have respect for corrections officers. Right now, I'm very much struggling with trying to regain my respect for that particular branch of law enforcement. And it makes me empathize so much more with what's going on in the country right now, because I have seen corrections officers do heroic and amazing things. And I've seen corrections officers abuse people, myself included. And I hate, you know, guys know I hate politics, but it brings it back to this whole, I recognize and I understand that there are bad police officers, but I also recognize and understand that there are good police officers. And being dehumanized, being abandoned naked in a cell, watching a corrections officer use like sleep manipulation as a form of psychological torture, which it is. Google it. It's something that I believe that it's outlawed by what's it called? Like the rules for like dealing with prisoners or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like it's actually something that it's like illegal, the sleep manipulation and stuff.
Yeah.
And then not only her, but to watch an inmate or a corrections officer on the male side, Officer Jamichael, deliberately put an inmate's life in danger by claiming that he's an undercover cop in a correctional facility. That floored me. And then the Miss Richardson, who threw bleach and Kool-Aid all over an inmate, or had inmates attack her like that. Like it was something that I don't think any of us were prepared to see on national television. That's my rant.
Okay, so I will say that during my time on 60 Days In, yes, the show especially concentrated on a few of the correction officers or detention officers in the jail setting that you know, they did some messed up stuff. However, I'm going to play devil's advocate for a minute and say, at least in Pinal County, and unfortunately the show did not feature them, there were a lot of good people. In fact, when I did my interview with Sheriff Lamb, I mentioned, hey, these are your bad DOs that probably need more training. However, let me give you a list of the good DOs. And unfortunately, the network chose to leave that part on the editing room floor. But I had a lot of good DOs too.
I listed ones as well. I think we all did.
Yeah, I mean, there were people there that truly cared about their job, and they didn't treat inmates like they were sorry sacks of poop. You know what I'm saying? So I saw some good ones, but I saw some bad ones too, and you saw that on national TV, international TV, I guess.
You're talking about the guy who took your razor.
He took my razor blade. I'm still salty about that, man. No, but
we need to take a road trip and hit Pinal County and Etowah County and be like, hey, remember me?
Yeah, you know what? We could get in. You know, they would definitely love to see us in Arizona.
Oh, for sure. Sheriff Lamb's precious.
And here's the thing: I live near Fulton County, so I'm sure season 3 and 4 was in Fulton County. So I'm sure that they would be like, "Hey, y'all are the 60 Days In people," and we'd be like, "Yes, that's us." But talk to us, because you had a lot more extensive experience on correction officers in Georgia. Talk to us about it.
So it was.
He already sounds like he's mad. He's like, it's like that awkward laugh.
Yeah. So, like you said, you know, there are good officers and there are bad officers. I really couldn't put a number on it. but I really think in the correctional facility, there's probably worse officers than there are good officers. And it's not that they're doing dirt, it's just a lot of them look at us like we're a piece of crap. And they feel that they're superior to us because they're in the free world and we're not. So a lot of times we get talked down on, we get, talked bad to, we get treated wrong, and it's all because they have that badge and they think that they're better than us. And that was like you said, actually, like being like going into there, I had a way different like idea of what it was gonna be like, and a lot of them really disappointed me going throughout my time.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, a story for another day, but real quick, after I got stabbed, uh, they tried to turn it into a race war, and they got off on this. Like they they enjoy when stuff pops off. Like they get the adrenaline rush off of it. And as I was going, like coming out of medical, going to the hole, like an officer literally leaned over to me because he's walking. Like there was all of us. Like got they took one race down, and then they took the next race down because there was a big war that happened. And as they were taking us down, they got the camera on us, so he can't say anything loud. And then he just whispered in my ear, "As soon as you get out, get a tool and go get one of them back." And I was like,
Wow.
"Are you kidding me?" And I was like, first off, like, I'm not affiliated. I'm just a civilian. And
Affiliated meaning, remember, all the people
uh,
view that don't
I'm
understand
not
what that means.
I'm not involved in any kind of gangs. I'm just a person in prison.
There you
I'm
go. Thank you.
unaffiliated. So, um, he told me, as soon as you get out of the hole, go buy you a tool, which is like a knife, and go get one of them back. Well, when I got stabbed, I got knocked out. I don't know who stabbed me.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is what race stabbed me. That's all I know. I don't know who did it. I don't know what gang. I don't know anything.
So he wanted you to find some random, I guess, weaker black person and stab them simply because they're black, is what that CO was alluding to?
Yes.
Okay.
And I in that walk, I looked at him and said, "You got to be kidding me! Like, this is just going to turn into a bigger race war."
Mm-hmm.
And like, I could have died. I could have got seriously injured, but like, why would I take the chances of ruining somebody else's life that I don't have a problem with just because they did it to me?
Mm-hmm.
And like, I really feel like karma will come back on you. If you put bad energy out, it's gonna come back on you. So just because I got stabbed, I should just go find some random person and stab them? Like, that made no sense to me at all. And I was so irritated with that. Like, I'm supposed to be able to look up to you or for guidance or whatever, because this is supposed to be the Department of Corrections, and I'm supposed to be changing how I am in here.
Mm-hmm.
If and really, if you don't got the mindset to change in prison, you're never gonna change.
Okay.
If you don't got the will to change or the mind power, you're just gonna get stuck in the loop and do the same thing over and over. It's not a Department of Corrections. It's not. It's just a place to hold you. And
So let's go on to the next point, just because of time. Because I
yeah.
love you, Justin, but I know you
This
personally,
ties into it.
and
Yeah.
I think this will tie into it.
Yeah.
But medical. Let's talk about the medical department or misdepartment, however you want to treat it, or undepartment, I guess. Let's talk about medical.
For me, medical was horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to knock the people who do the medical because some of them are really good people, but it's like they just said, "Hey, I want to be in medical." Oh, okay, here, come get a job. You don't got to be a doctor. You don't got to be a nurse. We can just say you are. Like the way they act and the way that they do their things, it's like half of them never even got a degree, and like their favorite thing to do is give you an ace bandage and Tylenol, and that's it. I mean, I messed up my knee in the county, It took them. They gave me ace bandage and Tylenol. It took them a week to get my X-ray. I went to go get my X-ray, and she said, "Okay, what wrist is it?" And I was like, "Are you kidding me? It's my knee." She's like, "Okay, well, the paperwork's wrong, so go back to your dorm, and I'll call you out next week to get an X-ray." And I was like, "I'm sitting on the X-ray table right now. Why can't I do it?" "Oh, because somebody put your wrist and not your elbow or not your knee." And I was like, "What?" Like 90% of the medical staff there is a joke. And their favorite thing to do is just give you aspirin and ace bandage and think it's going to work. Now, there are a few of them in there that are really sweet people that really got, went through school and they're hard workers and, they're good doctors. But a lot of it's a joke. And, I mean, it's like pulling teeth trying to get something taken care of.
Ashley, did you have any medical you had to deal with?
I did some bad things. So it's going to be a confession time.
This isn't going to get you arrested or fired, is it?
No, statute of limitations is up. So anybody who works for medical in Etowah County, I do deeply apologize for what you're about to hear. So medical was used as a tool for inmates to get out of the pod and go on adventures throughout the facility. And it was very, very easy to line up and go down to medical. Even if, they'll line you up and they won't check to see who's on the list. Oh, no, everybody disappeared. Are you guys there?
Yeah, we're here.
No, we're here. We hear you.
Okay. So they would line the females up, and you would just kind of hop in the line if you wanted to go on an adventure. And when you get down to medical, they're like, "Your name's not on the list, scoundrel." And let's see. For my roommate was pregnant, and she had a tooth that was abscessing. I guess it was infected, and she could not get a dental appointment to get her tooth pulled out. And I'm so shocked that this didn't make it on TV because this was I couldn't believe it. I guess because she didn't sign the waiver, but she was breaking pieces of her tooth off. And then finally she was laying there crying, and I told her, "All right, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to beat on the door, and I'm going to tell the corrections officer you're having contractions. Because if this abscess is if it gets into your bloodstream, we're going to have so many more complications than just a tooth that needs to be pulled if it's already infected." So I beat on the door and I was like, "She's having contractions. We've been timing them. They're 5 to 6 minutes apart. She's only 6 months pregnant." So we were able to get her out of the cell and with a doctor immediately. And then the doctor was like, "Holy crap, this tooth's infected." Same day got the tooth pulled out. But we had to lie. We had to create situations that I hated having to lie, but unfortunately it was the only way I could get her help. And that was incredibly frustrating. However, I saw the inmates abusing the medical, system, so I can understand how the medical staff cannot take us 100% seriously because they're seeing the people lying, and then I'm lying on top of it, but lying to help somebody. It's the whole thing is an absolute mess. And the mental health treatment that I saw was almost non-existent. And I'll leave that at that. What about you, Mark?
Well, let me say that your story, Ashley, would have been even that much more awesome if you said at the end of it, plot twist, it was Officer Williams. And she just sat there and banged on the door for 3 hours. That would have been freaking great. Because I could have seen that.
There were people, honestly, who would scream for help. You could be getting stabbed by your roommate, and she would tell you to shut up. It happened more often than not. It's awful. Awful.
So I never utilized the medical part of when I was in Pinal County. I never had anything wrong, but having worked, working in the facilities, I see it. I see where, and I'm going to speak from a DO standpoint. I definitely see where the medical staff gets jaded and understand, as I said, when we talk about discussions, we're going to talk from both sides of of law enforcement here, or criminal justice here, you get so many people that lie. You get so many people that fake chest pains just so they can get out for a while. And I'm not saying it's right, okay? I'm definitely not defending them at all for this. But I can see where a lot of people in the medical department just are just like, okay, okay. Every time I walk through the pod, everybody has some type of issue. And oftentimes they don't. So it's hard to dictate who's telling me the truth versus who's lying. Now, I'm not saying, like, I know you said you walked down Justin East to get an x-ray and you were already there, so why not just go ahead and x-ray your knee?
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely not saying that's right. But I've also seen from the other side where people lie quite often to just get out, or for whatever reason, to just because. And as far as the Tylenol is concerned, I also kind of see that too, because you're in an area where people like to abuse drugs, and you can't give anything stronger than a Tylenol. That stuff will get sold. I mean, so it gets sold anyway. Oftentimes, you'll see people that will sell their drugs. And imagine if you had like Percocet or anything like that in the back. I understand it's for pain, but on the
Yeah.
same token, it's like, I mean, and I don't know, maybe if you're on a specialized drug like that, the right call is to have you come up there, take your Percocet. You have to sit in a holding cell for 30 minutes. We have to be, we, the staff, have to be exceptionally intuitive about flashing that flashlight in your mouth and making sure you swallow it. But then on the same token,
You have to have the staff for that, though, and that's where we come to the big problem is funding and staff. There's simply not enough people to enforce this kind of stuff, and that's wherein lies the majority of the problems.
And I don't even know if it's not funding as far as the security staff of a facility. It's the fact that, let's be honest, the job sucks. And it takes a special type of work, a person, to go in every day, whether you're a medical person, whether you're security staff, whether you're a counselor. It takes a special kind of person, because I know my time in corrections, I've seen, I've seen 5 people will start within 6 months, there'll be 1 left. I mean,
I'm one of them. You know, I was a corrections officer, right?
Yeah.
For 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
I'm serious. It takes a very special person.
It does. It does.
I'm not that person. I couldn't do it.
All right, so let's go ahead and talk about something else. And we're going to make this video a little bit longer than usual because, just because this is good stuff. So, policy and rule implementation. Here's some questions for you. Do staff carry them out in a unified manner, or do people do different things? And in other words, what I'm saying is, do some officers enforce the rules and others don't care so much? And why?
Every officer is different,
Mm-hmm.
and doing time, you learn how that officer is, because in prison it's way different than in the county. So there's a lot more stuff going on in prison. There's phones, there's smoking, there's all tattoos, there's everything going on, gambling, all sorts of stuff. So you got to learn the officer, how they work, how they move, how they, like, when they check stuff, when they walk around. And it's like we learn y'all without y'all even knowing it. Like, we're watching you. We're trying to figure out when you're coming in, how you do your rounds, what do you look for, what do you not look for, what are you gonna trip out on, what are you not gonna trip out on. And like, we schedule everything around that. And so, like, it's a lot of planning and watching and learning. And like, I think most inmates' favorite officers are not the ones bringing it in and not the ones going by the book. Somebody right there in the middle, where they really know that you're doing time, you're living your life, you're trying to make the best of your time as possible. And they know that a lot of the rules are really some BS. And they know that. And but they also know that they have to walk a thin line so that they don't get in trouble by their higher ups. So like somebody who's right there in the middle, who they're gonna bring nothing in, but if they see something, they might look the other way, or if they they're not gonna trip out if they know something's going on, they'll just keep pushing. But if something lands right in front of them, they got to do something. If there's another officer or somebody higher up right there with them, that they're gonna implement the rules. But it's not that they're being a bad officer. It's just like they know that we're just trying to live life and do their time the best way possible, whatever that is. So like somebody who's right there in the middle is what most inmates like. You know, they're structured, but they know that they're gonna kind of turn their head and let you do what you do because we're doing time. But then you got those officers that are just straight gung ho and go by the book, and they make our times drag. We hate when they come on because it just puts a damper in everything that we're doing. We're like, hey, we're just trying to do our time and get out of here, but like, that they're gonna come in there and talk crap. They're gonna come in and like this rule, this rule, this rule, this rule, and it's like seriously, like give us a break. Like even small stuff like working out. Like some officers, they love going by the book. So like if they see you working out and in Georgia, they took all the weights out. You can't have anything. So if you have like a net bag full of water, like in a trash bag, and you're working out with a water bag, or you're like you got them tied to a stick and you're doing like and like doing workouts and stuff with them. Like some of them like, okay, y'all are just trying to work out because all you got's the pull-up bar outside and push-ups. So do what you do. And then there's some of them like, oh, you got a water bag, you got a water bag. I'm gonna write you a DR. Stab the water bag, bust that water bag. Let me take all your equipment that you've gathered up to work out with. And so it's like, dude, just leave this alone. All we're doing is working out.
Actually,
so, every
We had so we were able to within like 2 to 3 weeks figure out, because I didn't ask too many questions. It was our guards operated on a 2-2-3 schedule, so they'd be on 2 days, off 2 days, work a 3-day weekend, then work 2 days, off 2 days, or on 2 days, and off a 3-day weekend. So I knew exactly who was coming in, when they were coming in, what time they were going to be there. I knew that Miss Williams was really big on count. She would be one of the only ones to go actually peek into your cell and make sure that you are the person that is supposed to be in that cell and that you're in your room. So the girls that were in relationships, see, ours is different from y'all's because we had very open, public women who were in relationships with each other. The men's side, they didn't flaunt that as much. Like we had true family structures. I had inmates that I called mom and inmates that I called dad. And then I had, like, I didn't have a wife. Well, I actually referred to my roommate as my wife, my pregnant wife. I was a good husband. I took good care of her. Shout out to Jessica because I know she's going to watch. But
we love you, Jessica.
We do love Jessica very much.
Yeah, awkward fist bump to you.
Yes.
Boom.
She's very precious. And, Miss Rita, she was my mama. But we had to organize family time around the guards. Like, so if you were in a relationship with someone, you knew that you could spend time with your wife whenever a certain guard was there. And when that guard was there, she would pop the cell doors at 6:30 a.m. So one of the wives could sneak over to the other wife's room and have good morning cuddles. And then there was another guard who liked to give us extra free time in the mornings. When she worked the weekends, she would let us have 3 hours of just time with the door, like come outside and early morning, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m., just relax, watch some Saturday morning TV, chill out. So we had good ones. We had more good guards at Etowah County than bad guards. I don't want to talk too bad on them, but we knew exactly what they were doing, when they were doing it, and who we could get away with stuff with.
Yep. And I would say that was the same at Pinal County. If you saw one guy come in, you just knew you were having a bad day. We would watch. I mean, we would watch. And you knew, okay, this guy's here today. He's cool, man. But this guy's here today, and he's a real jerk. But yeah, I mean, I think Justin hit the nail on the head. It's just like we're all different people, so we're all going to do things differently. But let me go ahead and bring up this last point, and I'm actually going to start off this one first. It says,
Okay.
are there programs available to inmates that help them, i.e., whether it's work programs, spiritual programs, or addiction treatment? And in Pinal County, we literally had Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous. We also had people that came in to do Bible study. Bible study, 5 minutes. No, but in Pinal County, the Mormons were really good about coming every time they were slated to come. But I'm a Protestant Christian, so I think they were there one time the entire 60 days. So, and I can't fault them. You know, basically, it's up to volunteers to come in and do that, and oftentimes people just can't. They just can't make it. And I understand that, but for me, it was always frustrating. So I would go to the Catholic service, the Catholic Mass or whatever they call it, and then I would also go to the Protestant, which was one time. So I actually went to a lot of Catholic Masses.
Was
I
your
remember,
mass
what's that?
Spanish? Was your mass in Spanish?
I think they actually did have one in Spanish, but the one I would go to was English.
Oh.
So, but as far as spiritual, you know, I mean, as far as, you know, spiritual religious, yeah, that's all we had. And they weren't even really good as far as if you were a Protestant Christian. Addiction treatment, as I said, we had Alcoholics Anonymous, we had Narcotics Anonymous. But outside of that, and that was one thing that I brought up to Sheriff Lamb in my out briefing, is there are no programs. And I understand it's county. And in county, you're going to see a huge turnover in people as opposed to prison. You know, in county, you got people that are there for a day or two, they make bond, but you also have people that are there for 4 years, you know, just because they're still wrapped up in the criminal justice system. And I told Mark, I said, listen, man, you're going to have to, I really think that there should be some type of programs in place. And I really hope that he started. And when I say programs, I'm talking about work programs. One thing I did that you didn't see on that was left on the editing room floor is I went in and wrote resumes. I helped a lot of guys because I have a 4-year college degree, so I have a little bit of basic knowledge in writing resumes. So I would help a lot of guys write resumes, and you know, just something like that, a workshop where okay, you've been here, and now let's work on what we can do, giving you the skills to get out. And we just didn't have that. I hope they do now. But how about you, Ashley?
So I was in the deep south of Alabama. So you know that we had our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ shoved down our throat almost more times a week than I was able to change my underwear. So speaking of which, that was
Hallelujah.
Yes. So there was a lot of Christian services.
Hey.
Yes.
Hold on.
Uh-oh. I can hear you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Better. Go ahead.
All right. So we had a lot of Christian services and we had zero alternatives. Me being a Christian myself, I didn't think too much about alternatives. However, people do not know that Etowah County is also an ICE holding facility, not just for Mexican illegal immigrants, but also African illegal immigrants, Middle Eastern. It didn't matter. You know, if you were an illegal immigrant, this was the facility that you were held in. And I only ever saw Christian services. I would like to see if it's not available, more inclusive religious services for different religions. We did have a GED program, but it was exclusive. And then they had the SAT program, which was a substance abuse program, which ended up being disbanded after we were there. And now they've created a whole new program called the Impact program, which I believe I've discussed previously. So, but yeah, I feel like this topic is a whole entire other video because I could go on and on about what's not available at the county level that should be available.
Me too.
Yes.
Justin.
So we did have a lot of church in the county. And one thing about it is like they came into the dorms, and so like everybody who didn't want it, they just had to go to their cells, and it screwed up with their time. Like whatever if they're watching football or whatever, they can't even keep the TVs on. They just got to go sit in their cell. And so a lot of people got really irritated because there are people that aren't religious or they're not Christian, they might be Catholic or something else, and they want they want to go to their religious setting, but they don't have it. So it was a lot of Christianity, and like you said, it was kind of shoved down their throat, but it was good. I mean, I enjoyed it. I'm a Christian. I've been raised in the church.
That's
So,
what we liked it though. But can you imagine somebody who is Muslim, like,
yeah, a lot of people really got irritated with them coming into the dorm, but in the county, you don't have anywhere to go. Like it's hard to move people in the county. It's so small. So in prison, there's a chaplain at I think every single prison, and they have all sorts of stuff going on, and they bring in other people from other religions to speak. So different times during the week, they have Catholic service, Spanish Catholic service, Christian services, all sorts of stuff. And if you have a religion and they don't have something for you, you're allowed to petition for it. And if you can get somebody to volunteer to come in and whatever religion that is, they have to let you come in, and like they'll let a volunteer come in and do your services.
Mm-hmm.
So
How about work programs or addiction treatment programs?
We had a little.
Yeah, in the county we had AA like we talked about, Alcohol Anonymous, and that was really that I can remember was about it. Maybe one other thing, but in prison, this would be a whole nother video that we can talk on.
I can.
Okay, give me 1 second. You guys continue talking. I'm going to handle something.
Okay.
In prison, there's all sorts. Every camp has different school classes you can take and be a part of.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of stuff in prison that you can do. GED, wood shop, mechanic, welding, some college classes, different dog programs. So that's a whole nother video I would love to get into on another day to actually go in more detail.
And maybe we will, because I know you did the dog program and it was actually certified through Auburn University.
Yeah.
Like, didn't you get some type of diploma or some type of certificate from Auburn?
Yeah,
I mean, go dogs. But anyway,
go dogs, but go Auburn.
All time.
No, what? I think I heard something in my
did
ear.
Did she say what?
I will go get my autographed Nick Saban football right meow.
She said meow. But
did you say meow?
How many times can you say meow in one stop?
Have you tried
it? No, never.
When we retire, can we revisit this conversation?
Yes. But
definitely
another conversation.
We will definitely. I would love to talk about you getting that Auburn certificate, though, and and kind of what they did, because even though boo, I can't even say. I'm like, are they the War Eagles, or are they?
They're tigers.
Yeah, or are they tigers? Like they're a bipolar. And if you're an Auburn fan, yeah, neener to you.
I'm a UGA fan. I'm a UGA fan, but going through that, I'm an Auburn fan, slight Auburn fan, but I'm a Georgia fan. Go Dogs.
Okay, well, I think this is a great stopping point, y'all. I mean, we are of just recording, we're at 50 minutes when we put in the intro and the outro. You're looking at, of course, the first part of it's going to be edited out, but yeah, I think this is a good place to stop. So let's go ahead. And once again, guys and girls, I'm sorry, because we're not all guys here, and girls and whatever else, we identify as. Thank you for watching. Remember to fist bump that subscribe button, follow, comment. Yeah, boom, we can do it all together. Okay, yeah.
We're doing it now. We'll synchronize one day.
Comment, tell us what what do you want to see us talk about too. We once again we have some great interviews that are in the process of getting lined up, and I know one of them is going to be it's going to blow your mind, because I know when we talked about it on text message, it was like, really. And so I
Pretty
think
awesome.
that particular video will probably get like a bazillion views. So but
It's also
but
going to have a powerful message, and we are so
I
excited.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, listen, love y'all, and we will chat with y'all later. Awkward fist bump.
Hey, Jim.
Boo! And